The HP Omnibook Ultra is a special laptop. Well, not the kind of special your mom tells you are before your first day of school, more so special in the sense that it is actually rocking some of the most efficient processors that have come out in recent times, and it's amongst the first to do so. So it's got Intel's Lunar Lake processor classes included, it also has AMD's AI Ryzen processor classes, and of course Qualcomm Snapdragon series as well. The configuration here specifically today is rocking AMD's Ryzen AI 9 365 processor, 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5X memory, a modest 512 gigabyte SSD. We've also got the Radeon 880M integrated graphics. Furthermore, we get Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.4 standards, and of course, this is a 14-inch IPS display. Now, while the HP Omnibook Ultra is a premium laptop, the competition is getting more and more fierce slowly as a number of new contenders have started coming out with these ultra efficient chips. So we're going to look at this in that light and see exactly what the Omnibook Ultra has to offer and whether or not this is the right productivity laptop for your needs. So let's get into it. Normally, I'd show you guys the front packaging of the box itself, but clearly Purelator and HP do not give a crap and just pretty much stuck on everything they could right at the front of this laptop box. But who cares, just what's inside that counts anyway, because once you open it up, you will behind some protective packaging. Firstly, of course, find the Omnibook Ultra, definitely giving Spectre vibes, but more on that in just a minute. We also have a standard 65-watt charging adapter over here with a Type-C end, nice to see, and then the wall outlet charging cable piece, of course, and then finally some basic documentation. As soon as you see this laptop, if you've seen an HP Spectre before, you're definitely going to get similar vibes like I mentioned, because you've got the same diagonal sharp edges over here, you've got a high quality premium metallic exterior all around, and overall this laptop has a very sleek form factor. Now you will also notice that of course the laptop is designed to be as portable as possible, so aside from its small 14-inch form factor, it's only got a weight just shy of 3.5 pounds, which isn't too shabby. Starting with the top side, like I mentioned, a clean metallic exterior. I love the fact that it's not a fingerprint magnet, so it doesn't attract a lot of moisture and residue. And then of course you do have that fancy HP logo right there. I/O port diversity is about as dry as a breast chicken piece from Swiss LA. I mean seriously, on one side you've got two Thunderbolt Type-C ports, and then on the other side, you've got a USB-A port and the headphone jack. That's it. They don't even bother including an SD card reader, which honestly is a bit of a disappointment and does take away from the whole element of being a high-end productivity laptop. The bottom of the laptop, again, a nice high-quality metallic lid over here. You'll also notice you have a nice amount of air intake vent surface area here, and that's because you actually have a dual fan setup, which is quite impressive. Also, you'll notice you have two speaker grills on the bottom side, so you do have a quad firing speaker system, and we'll cover that in the sound test later on in the video. You guys still here? I'm so happy to see that. A couple of things I just quickly wanted to mention. Firstly, product links are in the video description below. And also guys, if you are enjoying the content, please consider subscribing to this channel, liking this video. It genuinely helps me grow, means the world to me, and keeps me motivated to provide more content just like this. Let's continue. When you unfold this laptop, you really get an appreciation for the inner chassis, which has a complete metallic exterior. That silver tone color here really brings it to life, and it just looks very elegant overall. At the center, you actually have a reasonably large trackpad. You do have a glass surface coating on top with a plastic layer at the bottom. The result is that you do have a little bit of flex towards the corners. However, it's not too dramatic, and overall the trackpad is very tactile. It almost feels like you're tapping on thin ice. While I wouldn't call it the best trackpad out there, it's definitely one of the better ones. Same thing with the keyboard, there's a lot to like here. So you have those nice iconic square keycaps here, and they are kind of color coordinated with the rest of the body, which is nice to see. The font is large and easy to read, though you will not get a 10 key pad since this is a 14-inch form factor, which makes sense. The keyboard is fully backlit, and you do have a built-in fingerprint sensor, which doubles as the power button. You'll also notice on either side, you have speaker grills because this is a quad firing speaker system. As far as the actual typing quality is concerned, for the most part, it's nice. You've got a reasonable amount of key travel. You also have a good degree of tactility, but the keys do feel ever so slightly finicky when compared to the likes of the Dell XPS, for example, or Apple's MacBook. You actually get a very high quality hinge mechanism here. It's stable, it doesn't wobble a lot, though for whatever reason, HP limited the tilt to less than 180 degrees, which is counterproductive to the fact that this actually has a touch captive system. Now, the real crime here is that 86% screen to body ratio. These are some of the thickest bezels I've seen on any modern day laptop, budget or non-budget alike. I mean, it looks straight out of 2010, especially on a premium device. Like, the bezels are just thick from every dimension. I have no idea what happened here. With that said though, you do have a nice high quality 9 megapixel webcam at the center with IR recognition as well, and it is quite clear, mind you. While the display fitting is a bit of a disaster, the display quality for the most part is respectable. So you've got a high quality IPS panel over here, a sharp and crisp 2.2K resolution display with a 16:10 aspect ratio. Unfortunately, we are still limited to a 60Hz refresh rate. However, we do get 400 nits of peak brightness, which is more than ample to cover for the additional glare you're going to get because of the reflective or glossy display here. Now, it's also worth noting, like I mentioned, this is a fully touch captive display, and the touch system is very responsive, though because of the limited tilt, your mileage will vary. Now, it's also worth noting you get a 100% sRGB color rating, meaning colors are vivid and sharp on this device and should be good enough for most color sensitive activities. A quick recap of the technical specifications. So as far as we're aware, there's only one configuration at the time of this video, and that includes the specs we have here. So we have AMD's Ryzen AI 9 365 processor, 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5X memory, and we also of course get AMD's Radeon 880M integrated mobile graphics. This is a very peppy machine in terms of performance, so everything from general productivity such as surfing the web to crunching some Word documents to watching 4K content is going to be a very fluid experience, needless to say. More demanding activities like program coding, again, not a issue for this machine. You have enough memory and horsepower to comfortably get through those kind of power workflows. You can even get away with some degree of 3D development and design, though without a discrete GPU, again, your mileage will be quite limited. Now, the most demanding of activities like multi-layer video editing, for example, at a full HD level is very viable. So we found no matter how many layers we stacked at full HD, for the most part, this laptop did not have any major frame drops. At 4K, things do get a little different. The laptop is able to do great with single layer, but if you add multiple layers, you will start noticing a lot more frame drops in a timeline view with slightly slower render speeds as well. Now, while this is by no means a gaming laptop, casual gaming on here is a very pleasant experience. So for example, games like Fortnite can comfortably run at medium settings north of 60 FPS pretty much all the time without any noticeable frame drops, and this is sustained performance, which again shows how far integrated graphics as a whole have really come. If you think the performance is nice, wait till you hear about the thermals. So under a unrealistic pushed workload, we were able to hit a maximum average surface temperature hovering around 38 degrees Celsius, which is a very cool number, relatively speaking. And then with a more realistic sustained workload, you'll be hovering around the 35 degrees Celsius mark. Again, this is an extremely cool number when compared to previous generations. Fan noise is equally as impressive. Firstly, the fan rarely actually goes on. If you're doing general productivity, you won't even notice that it's actually there, though if you were to push this device with extensive workloads, then the fan can hit a maximum noise level of 50 decibels, which isn't too shabby considering you've got a dual fan setup and is a rare occurrence overall. Like most of these ultra efficient laptops, unfortunately self-upgradability is very limited. In fact, the only component you can upgrade is the SSD thanks to the preoccupied M.2 slot you have here, but other than that, your hands are pretty much tied. Despite having a relatively small 68 watt-hour battery, you'll find that you get some pretty impressive battery life. We found with a general productivity real-world use case test, we got just shy of 14 hours on a single charge. Of course, with benchmark results, you'll get far higher numbers, though in our real-world experience, that is never an accurate measure of battery life. Now, of course, as far as sound quality is concerned, so you do have a quad firing system with 2 speakers at the bottom and 2 at the top. The result is that you actually get some pretty decent sound. It's not as good as the likes of the MacBook Air or MacBook Pro or even the Dell XPS 13, for example. However, it's still respectable enough. Here's a quick sound test for reference. Yeah, I will always be your warrior. You can't stop me, you can't stop me now. Yeah, I will always be your warrior. You can't lock me, you can't lock me down. I will not lay down my arms. With a MSRP pricing of nearly $1,400, the HP Omnibook Ultra is undoubtedly a premium tier device that's geared specifically towards high-end productivity users, and it does have a lot to deliver, and it certainly does for the most part. You've got a high-quality premium design that clearly has a resemblance to the HP Spectre lineup. You also do get a high-quality trackpad keyboard, but above all, the shiny feature here is the fantastic performance in thermals, which really makes this a very capable device. Of course, there are certain shortcomings, for example, the ridiculous bezels on the display, or the fact that we have a very limited, borderline non-practical selection of I/O ports here. However, I don't think any of these on their own individual levels have to be showstoppers for you. If you don't mind these things, this is otherwise a pretty fantastic laptop that has a lot going right for it and not so much going wrong. If you want to bet the HP Omnibook Ultra, I would definitely suggest looking out for deals. These laptops frequently go $3, even $400 off, so wait for that sweet deal, and then this really is a great machine to invest in. Let me know what you think of this iteration, or if you have one of the other models like the Flip variant with Intel's Lunar Lake technology, let me know about that laptop as well. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. You can find product links in the video description below, and please consider subscribing to the channel if you like this video. Thank you.